I'm the computer man. I'm the Macintosh man with the virus scan. Moving your files all across the land. Some Photoshop filters in After Dark. Get your Microsoft Office, express your quark. Millions of colors with a VRAM chip. How about a system crash that'll make you flip? I'm the computer man. I'm saying Windows 95 is plug and pray. If it's fonts you want, you gotta go to MacWay. Log right on as my personal guest. You'll have Macintosh software on your desk. Send me an email with your request. If it's hardware you want, baby, I'm the best. I'm the computer.
Good evening, Case Quit listeners. Good evening, Santa Cruz, Central Coast, and beyond. My name's Luigi Opito, owner-operator of Pleasure Point Computers, right by the beach here in beautiful Santa Cruz, California. And for the next hour, I'm your tour guide into a world of wonder, magic, information, and, of course, a lot of frustration. That's right, we're talking about the internet and the world of computing. I am your computer man. Welcome to one of the most helpful, friendly tech counters you have ever visited. I'd like to welcome you to your Tuesday night, to your local radio station, your local KSQD Santa Cruz, and KSQT Santa Cruz, and KSQT Prunedale, 89.5, 89.7, and 90.7 FM, and always online at ksqd.org, broadcasting wherever those inner tubes reach, which is further and further every day. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Welcome to this Computer Man show. We're going to be squeezing about another 2.5 hours worth of information into this single hour, as we always do. And we got a lot of stuff to talk about. A lot of the Worldwide Developer Conference happened today. All sorts of stuff going on in the Apple world, on the Mac world, on the PC world, on the Linux world. Everything that's going on, we're going to be talking about a lot of it, and a ton of email questions that have been coming in as well, and which you can also always join in at Luigi, Luigi, at ksqd.org. But first, let's get through some of the basic stuff. If you ever say to yourself, wow, this guy's talking a little bit quick, how am I supposed to get these steps down? Where do I go to hear this again? Well, let me tell you about it. We can go over to ksqd.org. That is our website where we have a listening tab, and under there you have a 2-week audio archive where you can listen to any of the shows, including the incredible Talk of the Bay like we just had, or any of our music shows, or anything that we have here at KSQD for the past 2 weeks. Jump onto that website and you can listen to our listening tab and any of our archives, and it goes back 2 weeks. All the cool shows, all the awesome music shows we have in the middle of the night, or if you're looking at some of the news stuff that happens early in the morning, we've got it there. And while you're on our website, of course, the best feature of the entire website is that giant red candy-like button at the very top. That's right, that is our donate button. That allows us to be here, allows me to come in and talk to you through all this amazing equipment, but it wouldn't be here without you. And we couldn't do it any other way, because then I couldn't come in and talk about Amazon or talk about Apple or talk smack about Microsoft or something, because some company would have beholdens to them, and we don't want to deal with that, right? We want to have beholdens to you. This is your radio station, your KSQD Santa Cruz, and we want to make sure it stays that way. So hit that donate button, allow that to flow through our Electron board and get everything running and operating the way that we need to, and we really appreciate you. I really appreciate you. So thank you for everything you've done, and thank you for all those donations you have out there, ladies and gentlemen, and keep them coming. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to reach out to me, our phone number here is 831-900-5773. That's 831-900-KSQD. You can jump online to ksqd.org or get on to our on-air at ksqd.org. That's our email service here. I'm firing that up right now in front of me. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, you can send me an email through our online at onair at ksqd.org, or give me a call, 831-900-5773. And if you're curious about what this show is all about, well, we are all about updates, new devices, testimonials, scams, and, of course, our call-ins at 831-900-5773. We are here for you. This is your show. Your show, no phone tree, no nothing like that, no coin in the slot. Just give us a call, 831-900-5773. You'll come directly to me, and we can talk about what's going on with your devices, device things, internet stuff, whatever is going on with your thing that is not doing what it says on the box, right? And, of course, we can get, we're here every Tuesday night from 6 to 7 p.m. And our phone number one more time, 831-900-5773, or online on air at ksqd.org. All right, well, let's see what we've got going on for today. I want to talk about a lot, man, there's so many current events going on here. Let me get into some of the stuff. So that's Apple there. We're talking about the Apple AI initiative. We're talking about iOS 18. We're going to be talking about the iPhone 16 battery leaks, all sorts of things. But let's talk about the WWDC real quick, the Worldwide Developer Conference that came out from Apple. I watched a little bit of it. Work and things going on and everything, but there's gonna be a lot of things coming out. iOS 18 is a big big component of it. iOS 18 is the operating system that's running on the iPhones, and is the newest one, the 18th iteration of the iPhone's operating system. There's going to be more customization features, which I really like. You don't have to have everything stocked from left to right, from top to bottom. Be able to kind of customize stuff like that, improve lock screen controls. You'll be able to lock specific apps behind facial recognition, behind their Face ID, which is really cool. If for those of you who have like little kids who maybe you want them in certain apps and not in other apps, maybe that might be a thing if you hand your phone over. A smarter Siri, evidently, it's getting a major upgrade in iOS 18. It will be able to understand and complete tasks across different apps. That's kind of cool. If you ever use Siri, if you have your hands in a bunch of stuff and you just had Siri to do something really quick for you, you can have that be done. There's also some enhanced focus modes, which I actually use all the time. This one looks like it's going to be, I don't know, there's going to be some personal time stuff or whatever. I'm not really sure. But they're also moving into the iPad OS and a couple other things. They talked about Mac OS Sequoia, which is the new one. I think it's irritating. They went from like Sonoma to Sequoia, I think is what they did, but whatever. That'll be a lot of fun to confuse with people. But there's going to be that whole AI integration thing that they're talking about right now. So that's evidently Apple has struck a deal with OpenAI, which is the company that owns ChatGPT. And they produce ChatGPT. They're kind of the forerunners right now in using all the AI and the way that the algorithm and the model allows AI to do what it does. But evidently they're going to be integrating that to Apple. And then today, Elon Musk came out and was all huffy about it because he was concerned about the privacy, because Apple's talking about incorporating the AI into the operating system and at the operating system level, which at this point we really don't really know what it means. Everything's kind of new. It just kind of was officially announced today. So I'm going to be researching it, taking a look and see what that means. I know for a fact, just off the top of my head, that with an Android phone versus an iPhone, as we've talked about before, if you're a listener to the show, we talk about how the Android phone is not an embedded operating system like the iPhone is. And that's all about root access control. So you can take an Android phone, you can then put it on root access, which basically makes you God on that phone. Everything you can control. You can control anything and everything in the aspects of that phone. On an iPhone, there is no root access control based on the operating system. Everything's compartmentalized. So if you take control over one section of it, you then have to go into another section, take control of that section, take control of that section, and it's section by section, app by app. So you wouldn't be able to get in, break into the phone, and then start having control over every application that goes in, using the banking apps or using any type of any other banking apps, I guess, maybe whatever else you'd want to do that, maybe photo apps. I'm not really sure why you'd want to get into a phone. Anyway, but the idea of the embedded operating system and incorporating AI into the operating system, Elon Musk, I don't know if it's, I can't tell if it's like he missed out on some contract, so he's angry about it, or if he actually feels that there's a privacy concern. It's, again, a little bit too new. I can't quite exactly tell what his angle is, but he's basically saying that if that happens, that no iPhones are going to be allowed onto any of his properties, any of his businesses, and if you do come on site and you have an iPhone, that it'll be confiscated and put into a Faraday cage as you come on site. So I don't know if he's worried about, it's privacy. That's what he's mainly talking about, but not sure exactly how. And to be honest, I don't think he knows yet either, because nothing has really been solidified as far as I know, or even even notified about what's really going on. So kind of interesting, but there's a lot of things going on with Apple and with their Worldwide Developer Conference. Let's see if there's anything else notable here. They're talking about the Vision Pro, a little bit about the 3D glasses, or the augmented reality glasses, or whatever they're called, virtual reality glasses now. I think this should be augmented reality, but they're calling them virtual reality. That's fine. There's a more personalized Apple Watch, where it has some extra stuff with your vitals and empowering expecting mothers, and let's see, you can adjust your activity ring on the thing, but also these AI powered watch faces. And what it sounds like, I'm like, what is an AI powered watch face? And what it sounds like it would do is it would take a photo and then be able to make a watch face out of that photo while still incorporating the essence of what the photo is. So if I took a cool photo of my car, it's not going to zoom in on like the fender and just show the fender. It's going to actually like give me a watch face that would give me, like it would show me what I want to see. So kind of interesting. There's some other things coming around. Like it's a very basic thing of what's coming out. I'm really more curious about iOS 18. I'm really curious about what they're going to be doing with that. And they've already talked about, there's certain features that come out in different articles and stuff, like iOS 18 is going to let you lock apps behind your Face ID. And so it gives you something like a mail or messages or notes or photos or Safari or even settings, where you have to go into an extra layer of security in order to change those things. So if you leave your phone out, and someone were to jump on it, maybe a sibling or a partner or something, and they wanted to get into something else, they would have to then know your passcode or have a Face ID to get into those further features. So that's kind of cool. But also if they have your passcode, they can also get in as well. But it says it's kind of trying to eliminate the shortcuts that users have created. And shortcuts are like a macro run. Like I have a shortcut that I created when I'm on my way home to let my partner know. And what it does is I hit one button and it opens up all of my, like every map program that I have. It runs it in the background, and it goes from where I am and maps the distance to home, and then gets that time, and then it goes to the next one and it maps the home, and then it goes through Apple Maps, Google Maps, Waze, and it goes through all of those, and then it basically takes those 3 or 4, I think it's 4 programs I use. It takes those 4 programs and basically gives an average time. So it takes all of them, adds them together, divides them by 4, and then we get an average amount of time that it would take me to get home. And then I take that and it puts that average time in the basis of a text document that I've written that says, hello, I'm on my way home. I should be home at this time. I've sent an automated text message from my phone, so I can't really respond. And I can just hit one button. It'll calculate it, put the text message, and I can hit send. And I don't even have to look at it. And a lot of times I'll get home and I'll be within like a minute or two of what it says. That is a shortcut. It's a macro that does a lot of extra things, a lot of extra features, all in one button press. And they're really powerful if you know how to use them and know how to program them and need something like that to happen. So it's a great feature. But what they're saying is you can lock apps with screen time or shortcuts, etc. But the methods are kind of weird, and they're using this as a new way to do it. It's a little bit better. So kind of cool. Again, it's just iOS 18 stuff that's coming. Also, there was this new thing that they've been that people were talking about, or someone found, and they started this, talking about it, about how the new Macs and the new iPads have a secret component that Apple has not been talking about or won't talk about, which is kind of weird. So I remember back in the day there was something that they found in like the iPhone 12s or iPhone 11s or something. They found this like extra. It's either an extra module or an extra radio. It was an extra thing that wasn't registered on any of the diagrams that anyone had to find out what was going on inside the iPhone. And I guess there is now a new feature that is called a thread radio. I'm like, okay, thread radio. We found this thread radio that's inside all the iPhone 15s. It's in the M4 iPad Pros. It's in the M3 Max. What is it? Like, what is a thread radio? So I'm like, okay, actually, I don't know what a thread radio is. I'm like, is it just another protocol that comes out? Because like, if you have an Apple phone and you've done anything like with your AirPods, the AirPods and the Apple phone work over Bluetooth, sure, but there's like this extra protocol that runs. Or even when you do like your remote if you use your iPhone as a remote to your Apple TV, there's like an extra protocol. It's running through the Wi-Fi, but it's also an extra protocol that's running. But it's not exactly like its own protocol, right? This evidently is going to be kind of its own protocol, its own radio. And the idea is that if it looks like it's for home integration. I read that, and of course we don't know, it's hours old, but as far as I know, that would be something like a direct connection to like a smart speaker, or a direct connection to some type of Internet of Thing device, like smart lights or something like that, where you don't have to go through the Wi-Fi in order to get to it. So your smart speaker or your smart home device right now connects to your Wi-Fi. Your phone then connects to your Wi-Fi, and then using Wi-Fi in your phone in the app then communicates with that device. So it has to go from your phone to the router, from the router to the device, and of course back through it. And so we do with all this stuff. The router's kind of like the main point, and everything connected to the internet kind of connects back to that router. But this, theoretically, is its own antenna that would then connect to these devices and do its thing by itself. So not really sure exactly where they're going with that, but it's this new secret component. So they said, they said they were putting a thread radio on its top-of-the-line smartphones, and now it turns out that Apple also quietly added this important smart home radio to feature several new Macs and iPads released since September. So it's in a bunch of stuff, and they say that Apple is sharing very little about it. They're saying that, quote, the iPhone 15 Pro and iPhone 15 Max introduced the first Thread-enabled smartphones, opening up future opportunities for home app integrations. And again, there's been components in other iPhones and other iDevices that Apple just simply hasn't turned on. I think there was actually a feature in some of the iPhones back in the iPhone 12 days where if you charge wirelessly, you could then put like your AirPods on top of your phone that was charging, and it would have like a through charging, so you could stack two phones on top of each other and both iPhones would charge. There was rumors of that coming through, and that never came to fruition. Is the equipment inside the iPhone? I'm not really sure. It might be. It might not be. I'm not really sure. But it's neat to hear. I'm always curious when they find these new, like something else inside the iPhone. I'm like, what did you find? Like this device that I have in my pocket does more things than I'll ever know. It has more components in it than I know what to do with. And granted, there are breakdowns and everything of a lot of the components. There's still a lot of industry secrets inside this device. It's just kind of how it is. And I'm always curious to hear about new things that people are finding and also the new technologies that are coming out with this stuff. Is it shady? Is it legit? Is it cool? Is it real? Not really sure. We'll find out. Also, iPhones, talking about iPhones all the time here. The iPhone 16 battery has come out, and there's a leak about the battery. Not a leaky battery, but an actual leak about the actual fact about the battery. And it looks like that Apple is changing some stuff up as they have from the 15. I guess the iPhone 15s would get hot and they would start overheating, evidently, because of there's a foil casing and a metal covering, evidently. But evidently there's some new surface that they're going to be putting out, some glossy surface that lets the metal shell distribute heat better than the current solution, so the iPhone 16s won't be getting as hot as the 15s. And also, the iPhone 16 has a 3,500 milliamp hour battery, which is going to be a little bit larger than the iPhone 15. So, I guess they're taking some proactive approach to it. That's good. And also, it looks like with all these new AI features going to be baked into the next operating system, the new phones may generate more heat than the current generation because it's going to be using more processing power to get that stuff done, which I see as my battery going down even faster because my battery is not too great as it is. Like, I've used my phone like not as much today, and my phone, granted it's an iPhone 12, so it's about 3 years, almost 4 years old. I'm already at 61% today, and I really haven't used my phone a lot. But my battery health already is at like 82%, 83%, 82%. So it's getting down there. But it'll be interesting. It's always cool to see new battery technology, but this isn't really new battery technology. This is just kind of shifting around the same stuff just to make it work a little bit better, run a little bit cooler inside this environment, right? It's not about some brand new battery technology. We're using sodium cells now or something. No, it's just same lithium stuff, but just packaged in a little bit different way to keep the heat down and make sure it doesn't translate into the phone so you're not holding some hot brick of hotness while you're just trying to use it. Okay, so let's talk about some other stuff on the other side. The new AI that's coming out with Apple is actually going to be called Apple Intelligence. Not really sure what it is. The only articles that I've really found so far in Apple Intelligence have been the conjecture of what it could be. And now that it's been announced, we're going to hear some articles in the next 24 hours about what exactly it entails and exactly how OpenAI is going to be attaching to that. But I'm, Elon Musk over there always is making some stink about something, and a lot of times it's rooted in something that's at least decently real. He does know how certain things work, and a lot of times he just runs off on others. But I'm curious to see what he's going to come out with the privacy thing. Tim Cook actually responded to his tweets directly, and then Elon responded back to Tim Cook so they were billionaires talking about stuff. And was Tim Cook a billionaire? I'm not sure, actually. It doesn't really matter. But very rich dudes talking back and forth about their tech companies. And I'm curious to see if it actually comes of anything, if it's actually rooted in legitimacy, or if there's just something like where Elon missed out on something and now he's a little butthurt, which I think also might happen. Okay, so I want to talk also about Windows Recall. Windows Recall is something that's coming out on Windows 11 that a lot of people don't even understand exists, and it's kind of shady from the more I read about it. So this Windows Recall is it's not embedded, but it's in all the Windows 11 Copilot Plus PCs. Those Copilot Plus PCs are the new AI and machine learning driven features and new AI and machine learning devices that work. It's curious because a lot of the stuff developed by Microsoft as a comprehensive record to basically watch everything you do on your machine. It's creepy and weird, and at the same time, it's also pitched as a way to help users remember where they've been and to provide Windows extra contextual information that helps it better understand requests to and from to meet the needs of these individual users. So InfoSec and a lot of the other security companies out there are saying this thing is weird, it's strange, it's not something that we really want, but it also could be a security nightmare. So, yeah, it could fundamentally break the promise of security in Windows. So, actually, we've got somebody real quick. Let's just go to a quick break. We're going to take just 30 seconds here. This is the Computer Man Show here on KSQD Santa Cruz, KSQD 90.7 FM, and KSQD.org. We'll be right back.
Do you own a local business or run a local nonprofit? KSQD can help you advertise your event or service to the community of passionate KSQD listeners. Contact us at underwriting@ksqd.org or go on our website at ksqd.org and check out our full brochure and electronic press kit. We'd love to have you on board as one of our supporting community businesses. Check out underwriting at ksqd.org.
Hey, welcome back here to KSQD and ksqd.org. All right, so we were talking about this Windows recall that's coming in. So the Windows recall is supposedly, it's this thing that actually comes through and will lock you out, or not necessarily lock you out, but it will show you what you've been doing on your machine and how you've been doing it on your machine. It's very strange, very odd, and with that, it's one of those weird things that computers do, weird things that computers have that you kind of don't know what's going on in the background. It's saying that it fundamentally breaks the promise of security in Windows by doing it. So if anyone uses the Windows ARM testing, which is the new ARM processors that are out here, Windows will use OCR on all text and all screenshots, which is then saved to a SQLite database to facilitate faster searches, which is weird. If you search for iCloud, for example, it'll bring up a single screenshot with the word iCloud in it, including the app itself and the entry in the Microsoft Store. If you had visited websites that mention it, it would also show up here too. So it's an idea, like if you have an iPhone, and I don't know if you've known about this feature, if you go onto the iPhone, you can actually, there's a search feature down at the bottom. If you type in any word, like if I type in the word dog right now, it will search not only for dogs on my phone, it will also search for individual items that have the word dog in it. It'll actually have a search for any news articles that I have screenshotted that have the word dog in that screenshot, or any of the other words. It's crazy, kind of cool, also kind of creepy, right? It's like if I've taken a picture of something on the wall, and let's say if I was in downtown Santa Cruz and I was looking at one of the stores and it had a title in the store and I had taken a photo of that and I can't find that photo. It's not under my places, not any of the other things. I could do a search for that word, and the built-in programming on my operating system will search for my photos in the words in the actual photo. So it does an overlay on the photo, and will do OCR text recognition, which will then turn it into a searchable text. So because right now, if it's like having a physical photograph in your hand of text. Can you copy and paste that anyway? No, you're holding a photograph. But if you have a photograph in your phone, it will then do a scan over that photograph, find any text. By the text, it will then take what's called OCR. OCR will then turn it into a scannable thing, which will then turn it into an indexable thing, which will then turn it into text. And text as in you can search text, highlight, scan, copy, print, any of that kind of stuff based on the basic text that exists there. So Windows Recall does the same thing, but in the shortest version of it is basically taking screenshots and then using OCR on top of it to gather the information from your screen, and then writes that contents of the windows to different interactions at different places in SQL, and then allows the operating system to store it for later. It's really weird. Got a call calling in. Let's see what's going on out in the real world. Hello, you're on with the Computer Man. How can I help you?
Greetings, Luigi.
Greetings.
You may remember about, I think it was 2 weeks ago on your show, I called and I said that every time I call Comcast, I'm reminded of the French philosopher Albert Camus saying that the only philosophical question that's worth anything is whether or not to commit suicide.
I do remember very well.
I had to call again, and I want you to know I survived.
Hey, glad to have you.
Yeah. And before I ask my question, I just want to say about Musk and privacy. I wouldn't count on the world's richest fascist or one of the world's richest fascists to protect our privacy. So anyway,
I agree. It's more of I always look at what he's saying, and I think I'm like, okay, does he have some insider information? And there's something about this item with AI being on an operating system on a phone, on everybody's phone. It just I'm a kid of the '90s. Terminator, all that good stuff. I saw Terminator 2 when I was like 13. I was like, all this AI stuff taking over, and that instant switch over just holds on all the computers and starts shooting us or something. That's always been in my brain. And so I hear that just everybody has, I hear everybody has an iPhone, everybody has a phone, and then all of a sudden that gets some super thinking on its own feature, and step 9 is Terminator 3 or whatever. So it's you're right. I take what Musk says with a grain of salt, but I'm also curious. I'm like, okay, now that you've said that, I'd like to hear the answer, and so it's kind of curious. But yeah, let's continue.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I agree. My question. Well, let me just tell you what my problem is. I was telling you about my situation with my TV,
Mm-hmm.
and I have a new problem because I have two TVs, a main one with the Comcast box, and then I have a secondary TV that's connected only. Well, it's not really connected. It operates by the Xfinity stream. So
okay. So do you have the streaming box, or is it just the app?
No, it's just the app. I'm
Okay.
not connected at all.
Okay.
So,
just a follow-up question real quick. Do you run the app inside your television, or do you run the app like on a Roku or something?
it's just an app that's along with the other apps on the TV, on the smart
cool.
TV.
Okay.
So it takes maybe 3 or 4, sometimes 5 minutes for the stream to actually give you a screen. But lately, every time I go to watch either live TV or a movie, it stalls. It buffers, and it's so bad that it's doing it. Say in a 15-minute time slot, it'll do it 10 times. It'll buffer. It'll stop, and then it'll say, something went wrong, give you an error code, and then it says trying to reconnect. And at the top of the screen, it'll say LAN. I don't know what LAN. LAN disconnected.
That's local area network. That's a wired connection to the internet.
Okay. And then immediately it'll flash internet connected. And that keeps happening constantly. Like I say, maybe 10 times in 15 minutes. And it's impossible to watch either a TV program or a movie. So
Yeah.
I called today.
Okay.
And they now you have to go through a whole process with a virtual assistant
Yes.
to get someone to talk to that's a live tech support. So it took me about a half hour. I finally got through somebody, and I told them the problem that I just told you, and they said, well, they kept me on the phone for a while on hold to figure out what's going on. They said, well, we don't have an answer. We're investigating. We'll get back to you. Maybe we'll have to send a technician out. So what I wanted to ask you, do you have any information that I could use in my arsenal in case they're trying to BS me when they come out? And because they want to charge me another $10 to get the box that actually connects.
Yes.
So do you have any information that I could use to inform myself with?
Well, first of all, I would start with the fact that I never use a smart TV's internal features because I know that the television sets manufacturers have bought the cheapest, least expensive, lowest bidder chip that they could have put into whatever model television set, unless it's some $5,000 to $7,000 model television set. The processor.
It's an LG.
An LG.
It's an LG.
Yeah. LG does a little better than still the processors that run those smart apps. The TVs themselves are now computers. They have to run applications. They have to run all these extra things. Even the settings page is no longer just a settings page. It's actually running a small application inside like an Android box inside these television sets. Like every television set is basically like a giant Android computer. And it's running a front that doesn't load that actual operating system. But when you turn on the television set, it takes a little bit extra to start up. And one of the things it has to do is load this Android operating system, which is how it runs all the smart applications. So I would be curious if you were, instead of to pay them for an extra $10 to get the actual streaming box a month, it'd be curious for you to go and spend, $30, $40, $50 at one lump sum and get a Roku, offload that processor. Offload it from it because they're going to come at you. If they have somebody come out, they're going to go through and they're going to go, oh, your TV's just slow. And that's all it's going to be. The LAN disconnected thing is probably an app issue. What it does is the phone or the computer or the television in this case will always go to a wired connection first. If it doesn't see the wired connection, it'll rely on the wireless connection that you have, which you're most likely using on that television set. So if it says LAN disconnected, that LAN, that local area network, opposed to the WAN, W-A-N, the wide area network, the LAN is like our network here at the studio where we only connect to our router here at K-Squid, and the people that are literally inside the studio are the ones that are connected. That's our LAN. Like me and my two buddies out here, we're the only ones in the studio. We're the LAN. The WAN, the wide area network, is the city or is the state. It's everybody that's online. The wide area network takes care of the entire, is like kind of like the entire internet. So I think that if you were to get and offload that app onto something else, like a Roku, you could buy a very nice Roku right now for like $39 at Best Buy, and you would plug that into the input on your television set, fire it up, the TV would go and turn on the Roku, and instead of seeing the TV's menus, you would see the Roku menu. And we're using the Roku's processor to process those applications, which is what it's designed for. We offload it. So that way the television is doing television things like displaying, playing sound, all that kind of stuff. And the Roku is processing the actual app, which is what is kicking you in the butt right now because it's not loading. It's a big fat app. That Xfinity app is very large and takes up processing power, which most likely your television doesn't have unless you bought like a $7,000 or $8,000 or $9,000 television set, which they actually put decent processors in. So I always say, screw that. I don't use any smart TV feature in any television set that I purchase. Even if I was going to go buy a brand new one today at Costco for $1,500 that has all the smart features, nope, I'm not going to use any of those smart features that are built into the television because they suck. The processor is terrible. And so I'm going to offload that onto something I know will actually just be designed just for that, like a Roku, which are very inexpensive. And that would then actually give me an experience that I wouldn't hate myself about, that I could actually use that application and it would respond to my button clicks. It would fire up quickly and load in a timely fashion. 3 to 5 minutes. That is an eternity when I'm trying to watch something. That's the entire 30 minutes worth of commercials right there that I'm wasting my time on. And so I would make sure that the processor can handle it. And most likely that's what's going on. The TV is just too slow. No matter how new it is, the processor sucks, and we have to offload it and put it onto something else. And I would get like a Roku. That's the least expensive. Or if you want to get something really nice like an Apple TV, that's going to have a really strong processor and just load the things quickly. That is 95% my dollar down. My bet is your issue.
Okay, can I ask two quick questions?
Yeah.
Would I then, if I get the Roku, would I then take all my apps, including, say, my Amazon app, and instead of having them function through the smart TV, put them on Roku?
Yes. Yeah, okay. So you'd have Amazon, you have Netflix, Hulu, Pluto TV. You'd have your the Xfinity Flex box or Flex or whatever that the app is that they call it now. You'd have all those on like a little menu, and it takes a couple minutes. Takes a little bit to get everything signed up, and you just go one by one. They download and they get installed, and you sign into them, and then that's where you go. Yeah, so you no longer would do any of the smart features inside your television. You would offset that and do everything on your Roku, and you'd be loving life way more than you are now.
Okay. I think you said the last time I called, wanting to know if getting something like Roku would enable you to get rid of the expensive Comcast TV package.
Yes.
If I got the Roku, would I be able to take advantage of having other channels through Roku rather than having to pay Comcast top dollar for 150 channels, of which you only watch a half a dozen?
Yeah, you would to a certain extent. And, this goes back to the Pluto TV thing we were talking about last time, too, where you get this one application that has a lot of the standard channels. Like you get Pluto, and it'll have like the news section. It'll have like, KTVU in San Francisco. It'll have like WGN in Chicago. It'll have like some main things. Then it'll have like a horror movie section, and it'll have like a funny sitcom section. It'll have like, and it has a bunch of things, and it's a free thing that will run an ad every 12 minutes or something like that, I think. So you are handing off something to getting out of Comcast. But again, if you only watch certain channels, yes, you most likely will be able to find everything you need on a Roku with minimal streaming costs. It would be if we were, if you were sitting down with me and we were like, hey, let's get this going, I would ask, hey, in the next week, write down the channels that you use, and then let's see what those streaming costs would be, and we just literally add them up and say, okay, if we want this channel, we have to get this service. This service costs this much a month. Okay, let's write it down, and then just put it together and see if it would be cost effective to do that. Most likely it would, but it would be something most likely you have to pay for some of the services. Like somebody really likes CNN, you have to buy that, or you have to get somebody who already has Xfinity to get you your login, and you just use that, which I do at home. So like something like that, and CNN's a loose case. It's just any news organization like that, or any kind of cable organization in general. So yes, you'll be able to get some, and it would be one of the things where right now on your smart TV, without costing a penny, in your smart TV's app store is the Pluto TV app. I'd recommend downloading it right now or downloading it tonight and firing it up and just kind of going through it and see what it has to offer. There's a ton of stuff, but you might be like, hey, this doesn't have what I want. And that wouldn't cost you anything to find out.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Luigi.
Yeah, you're welcome. Great questions. Love to have you here listening. I really appreciate you for the call. Thank you.
Okay, bye now.
Bye-bye. Take care. And that leaves the phone lines open for you here at 831-900-5773. That's 831-900-KSQD. We're going to go to a quick break real quick. A couple important underwriters that can help us keep on the air and keep us going. If you'd like to be an underwriter here on KSQD, jump on and email us info@ksqd.org, or jump online to ksqd.org and click that contact button and say what's up. We'd love to hear from you. So this again is KSQD Santa Cruz, KSQD 90.7 FM, and online at ksqd.org. We're going to go to a quick underwriting, and we will be right back.
Do you own a local business or run a local nonprofit? KSQD can help you advertise your event or service to the community of passionate KSQD listeners. Contact us at underwriting@ksqd.org, or go on our website at ksqd.org and check out our full brochure and electronic press kit. We'd love to have you on board as one of our supporting community businesses. Check out underwriting at ksqd.org.
Hello there, Santa Cruz. It's Dr. Dawn. Have you missed me? Don't worry, your old friend hasn't gone away. I've only moved next door to Thursday at 6 p.m. on KSQD. So come on over, and we'll have a comfortable chat about whatever ails you, as my grandma used to say. Also, maybe scientific discoveries, health politics, health policy, and answers to your questions and comments about all of the above. So remember, 6 p.m. at Thursday is the new time for Ask Dr. Dawn.
My name is Luigi Opito, owner-operator of Pleasure Point Computers and the host of The Computer Man Show, a 1-hour call-in show Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Viruses, slowdowns, scams, and updates. Computers can be a pain, and I'll help you through it.
Send me an email with your request. If it's hardware you want, baby, I'm the best. I'm the computer.
If it has an on switch, we'll probably talk about it on The Computer Man Show Tuesdays at 6 p.m. only on KSQD 90.7 FM Santa Cruz.
Get into a computer.
Hi, I'm Bobby Bishop, host of Be
in the Night, bring you the best I can with jazz, love songs, and soul. Join me on Tuesday evenings from 7 to 10 p.m., playing the classics straight ahead and introducing you to the latest artists and composers. That's Tuesday nights from 7 to 10 p.m. right here on listener-supported KSQD 90.7 FM, Santa Cruz.
Yes, always. There's nothing better to let all this computer nonsense ooze out of your ears and onto the ground than jazz. Because jazz is great and computers are ugh. So let's get some jazz going at 7 o'clock with Bobby B and B in the Night coming up. Of course, every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night at 7 o'clock from 7 to 10, we have incredible jazz curators here at KSQD and ksqd.org. It's really something. But starting tonight, Bobby B with B in the Night, an amazing smorgasbord of incredible jazz coming up, and it's always something unique, and it's always put together just perfect. So Bobby B coming up. Stick around. All you got to do is sit here and let it happen to you. 7 o'clock, Be in the Night coming out. SockDoc is screening of SockDoc is a screening of UC Santa Cruz Film and Digital Media graduate students' social documentary thesis films. That's cool. These outstanding documentaries cover key global issues. The screening takes place Wednesday, June 11th. That's today. At Del Mar Theaters in downtown. Did it already happen? Oh, so it must have happened already today. Well, let's read something else that's going on here today. Let's see. How about support groups create a safe, confidential, and supportive environment for community and chance for family caregivers to develop informal mutual support and more effective ways to care for your loved ones. The Alzheimer's Association's of Spanish Language Caregiver Support Group meets monthly and offers an opportunity to meet with other family caregivers. All groups are conducted by trained facilitators, and the support group is open to family members. This group meets by telephone. The next meeting is Wednesday, June 12th, 7 to 8:30, so it's coming up here in about 20 minutes. More information is available by phone at 831-275-4252. That's 275-4252. Or by email at ymflores, YMFLORES, at alz.org. So that's brought to you by K-Squid. We love to have you here and also stoked to be with you. Let's get back into the Computer Man Show here on 90.7 FM, K-Squid, KSQD. Where'd all the pens go? Interesting. I thought I just had one. I was literally just playing with a pen and I disappeared. Oh, all good. All right, let's get back into it here on the Computer Man Show. I've got so much stuff going on. Look, I skipped my entire scam folder, so I didn't want to talk about it because scams are blech. All right, let's see. Do I have anything else in the main? No. Let's see what else we've got here. I could go to email questions. Looks like that's probably where we're going to head to next. Anything else going on here? So just Windows Recall. We're going to talk about this more and more as it comes out, but this thing is creepy. It's you have to have a decent processing. I mean, I just want my computer to run decently and not to have to worry about the screenshots that the computer's taking every 5 seconds or whatever it is, or every second, or I don't know. I have a whole thing on Windows Recall. We're going to talk about it next time and get into it a little bit. I just recently learned about it, and I'm learning more and more, and I'm just getting more and more grossed out about it. I'm currently not running Windows 11 on anything, but that's just because I'm kind of a Windows 11 prude. I hate it. It doesn't work well. It's like 2024's Windows Vista. Right? And you're like, any of you out there who went from XP to Windows 7 and had to sit through Vista know exactly what I'm talking about. It's just not right. It's something weird. It's tweaky. And they're trying things and using the customer as a test bed, as they always do. But then out of it, we'll get something decent. So it's the same Microsoft skipping. You get a good operating system, then a sucky one, then a good one, and then a sucky one. And so we went from Windows 7, which was good. We went to Windows 8, which is sucky. Went to Windows 10, which is good. Went to 11, which is sucky. And now we're going to go into whatever is going to come next. So, interesting. But I think, so we got the AI stuff coming from Apple's side, the Apple Intelligence that's coming into all iOS 18, into Mac OS. It's coming into, is it Sonora? Was it Sonora? Was that the name of There's Sonoma, and what's that other one called? Now I want to know. I said it wrong. What's it called? Sequoia. Blah. All right, whatever. But anyway, so with the Apple Intelligence coming on that side, and then the whole thing going on with Microsoft, how they're pushing their ARM-based processors, they're getting out, they're trying to compete with Apple and their M3 Max, M4 Max, etc. And so we're hearing about Apple Intelligence on one side, we're hearing about this Windows Recall on the other side. It's creepy. I just want to use my computer, guys. It's nuts. So yeah, we're going to hear more about Apple Intelligence, and I will be researching that as well and getting back to you as well. We talked about that secret component in there and the iOS 18 link. All right, let's get to some email questions. Sounds good. Okay, so so my brother kicked my PC by accident, and now it doesn't display. Well, that's okay. So for context, my brother was playing Minecraft with some type of horror mod on, and he got jump scared and kicked my computer pretty hard. PC's under the table. That's my PC lives there too. So I told him to restart the computer, and now it doesn't display anything at all anymore. Nothing. So the first thing I did was reseat the GPU, memory card, and the BIOS coin battery. Interesting, but still nothing. I even tried clearing the CMOS, and still nothing. What should I do next? Should I kick it again? Okay, you could try it. So I would say I don't see you reseating the RAM. That would have been one of the first things. Yeah, graphics card, sure, the graphics card, that might be something, but the RAM be one of the things that really, really screws with the display and also screws with the boot of a machine. I was going to ask if you got a post beep, which is the power on self test that comes out of the BIOS of the basic input output system. But a lot of people don't have speakers on their motherboards anymore, and that's not your fault. That's the manufacturer's fault, not paying 8 cents for a speaker to get on there, and also not having the beeps come out at people, and then people calling their manufacturer, oh, my computer's beeping. You're like, it's supposed to beep. Oh, thanks for the call, and wasting time, right? So if the machine were to come to my shop and it wasn't booting, the first thing I would do is plug in a speaker and see if the motherboard is kicking out any type of crazy codes. Is it beeping at me, telling me that the RAM's not seated? Are there any weird lights on the motherboard when it powers up, telling me, hey, something's not right? But most importantly, I would reseat the RAM. Snap the RAM back out, snap it back in. A lot of these RAM slots have 208 pins. 208! If one of them gets weird, especially by some vibration, because the machine's supposed to be just sitting there stationary, right? If you kick the thing, and then all of a sudden one of those pins moves or switches, there's not a lot of room to move, but sometimes something can get in between one of the pins, and then all of a sudden that memory allocation table is no longer there. The computer freaks out because it doesn't have the stuff in line. And we're not booting, right? It doesn't pass the power on self-test, and there we are, sitting with it powered, but nothing happening. So I would try reseating the RAM first. But at the same time, again, look at the LEDs on the board. There's a lot that can be going on. And especially if it booted and then you literally physically did something to it and then now it doesn't boot, something got jostled like you were thinking, but it was none of the items that you thought. Most likely it was a RAM. It was a stick of RAM. And I would always, if I have multiple sticks of RAM, I would pull all my RAM out. I'd plug one stick of RAM into it, fire it up, make sure it works. And then I would shut it down, add the next stick, fire it up, make sure it works, shut it down, add the next stick. I know it sounds ridiculous, but a lot of times if you just throw the 4 sticks of RAM in it, all of a sudden it doesn't work. Now you got more troubleshooting to go through, et cetera, et cetera. So that's my process, but again, I think it's RAM. Okay, so it's kind of on the same line. It says no post after adding a GPU, so no power on self-test after adding the GPU. I wanted to try a GPU pass-through setup, so I got a low-cost M5000 from Amazon that was a part of their renewed store. Oh boy, so it's refurbished, but figure the worst that could happen is I return it. Okay, I don't even like buying new electronics components from Amazon, like computer components, let alone refurbished components from Amazon. Now Best Buy or any of these other online retailers, for the most part, yeah, you can buy stuff, but Amazon just, I don't know what they're doing. I feel there's some weirdness sometimes. So anyway, they said that my setup before adding was they have a decent motherboard, a strong processor, basically 32 gigs of RAM, a lot of good stuff. Had no issues with it before, but installing the new card, I moved my 2080 down a slot for clearance, added the M5000 where the 2080 used to be, and powered it on. No output. The computer wouldn't turn off even holding down the power button. Okay, so stop right there. If the computer doesn't shut down now, and if you hold down the power button, all computers have a fail safe that's 8 seconds, right? Hold the power button down, no matter what state the computer's in, no matter what's going on, it will hardware shut down at 8 seconds. If it doesn't, then that power routing chip is compromised. There's something wrong. There's something else going on that's impeding that signal from going through. Because all you're doing is just connecting 2 points. When you hit the power button, it's just literally just connecting 2 wires on your motherboard, like if you were to short it with a screwdriver. So it's just receiving that signal, and for some reason something else is louder or is overriding that signal to not allow it to shut down, especially if it was functional before. So that leads me to think that something is shorting. Something is pushing out. Something is overriding that connection and telling it, hey, listen to me and don't listen to that button press by you saying that. So let's continue. I've tried different configurations of one and both GPUs in different slots. Oh, the old R9 2090 I had and was working. Cleared the CMOS, flashed the most recent BIOS version with the button and on the back, and no avail. So we immediately went to reflashing the CMOS or reflashing the BIOS, which I only do at the very end if I'm not. I had a functional machine. Now, granted, we're adding new things, but I'm not adding something that's like brand new, some new technology that the machine didn't know existed. It knew about this type of card, so I don't need to necessarily reflash the BIOS if it's not, you know what I mean? There's no reason to do that unless we know for sure that we have to do that because some new component, the BIOS doesn't understand some component. I don't think that's the issue, but I digress. Here we are. That's what we've done. So all the same symptoms, the RAM lights up, 2080s RGBs light up, the fans go on, which all that stuff just works based on power. Nothing is smart. So you see RGBs, who cares? In the nice way. The Kraken CPU cooler lights up. No keyboard lights, no output, no power button. The power button doesn't work. Turn it off. Okay, the motherboard's RGBs do not go on, but I did turn off the RGBs and it flashed a new BIOS without the issue. Okay. Check the power supply cables are all seated. I've reseated the RAM. I didn't touch them. I'm not sure why anything else, but I'm not really sure what to try anymore. Okay, so at this point, I'm curious. You flashed the BIOS. So we're kind of at the baseline here. I would actually, at this point, I would most likely either pull the BIOS battery out or I would hold the clear CMOS jumpers for 30 seconds. I would just clear it out and let it be at its baseline for the base BIOS, right? Sometimes some things will persist through CMOS or when you don't pull that battery completely, but if you pull the battery, there's no coming back, especially with power, of course, pulled out the bottom. And I hold down the power button just to clear out any residual electricity in the machine. 30 seconds with that gone, it should go back to just its default setting, and that should give you something on the screen. Are you getting any type of error codes? I'm talking about like basic stuff. So at this point, also, if this were to come to my shop and it wasn't booting on inside the case, I kind of have a machine that's similar right now. I would pull the motherboard out and go to base components. 1 stick of memory, the processor with the cooler. If the video, if I don't have onboard video on the motherboard, a very basic video card that I know works, and that's it, besides the power supply. So those are the only things. And then I would plug in a keyboard and a mouse, and I have video output, and I have power going to the power supply. Nothing else. It's sitting out of the case, sitting on a static mat on my bench, just a bare motherboard running. And I would see how it runs if it runs. If it doesn't, I start taking off even more components and see if I got squawking. If I pull out all the RAM, is it yelling at me? If it doesn't do that, then there's something else going on. That new video card might have shorted something. Not really sure, but so evidently, talking back and forth to the person, they said there were no error codes, no speaker beeps, no hardware fault LED indicators, and this person can't do any isolated testing. Said the power button works. The issue is that even when the system and fans are running on, it never posts. No change, even with a single stick of RAM. So if the motherboard was working prior to the install, I would say that card most likely cooked something on the motherboard. That's what I mean. Again, refurbished stuff from Amazon. I know I'm sitting here armchair quarterbacking the stuff or whatever, but man, I just wouldn't. Like I said, I have a hard time buying sealed brand new things from Amazon in their electronics brand. I'm plugging this into my computer. It's just, I'm not, I've seen weird things from Amazon. I can go to a reputable source and basically get the same price and know I'm getting a new product, right? So if you're not posting, if you're not getting any, and the post is a power on self-test beep. Back in the day, remember you turn on the computer, boom, they'd fire up, and you hear the beep, and then you would get something on your screen. That beep means that the computer has checked everything on the computer, everything, all the plugins, all the things it's running. And I'm talking about the physical plugins, like the RAM is plugged in, the CPU is plugged in, the video card is plugged in. All the things are physically attached to the motherboard. And then as soon as it sees power and it's routing power properly and everything's good, it gives you that beep, beep, and says it's ready to go. So when you hear that beep, the power on self-test has already happened and is already happy and is stoked and is ready to go and continue on. So if you don't hear that, it can only be a few things. It can only be the motherboard, it could be the CPU, or it could be the RAM. It's really at a I have seen in all my travels, I've seen I think 2 burnt out CPUs. And one was just because the guy ran it without the heatsink. The other one was actually because something shorted and actually burned out the CPU. CPUs are pretty resilient. So I would go back to RAM. RAM could be reseated, could maybe not be reseated. But again, RAM is also pretty resilient. So if it was working before in that slot and nothing got kicked like the last guy, or nothing got moved or jostled or vibrated out or anything like that, it's probably not the RAM either, which then goes back to the main thing, which is probably the motherboard. So, refurbished cards, that scares me. I don't like it, but it could have been good. But also now it sounds like it probably could have fried your motherboard. So again, without further testing, we don't really know. But that would be my from afar That's what I would say for the diagnosis. Okay, let's see here. We've got... Okay, about 3 minutes left in the show. Let's go to this one. It says, is Apple really stepping it up? Say, we've seen the M4 iPad Pro scores on the Geekbench. We've seen that the M4 iPad Pro scores more on Geekbench. Geekbench is a website that will log processor ratings and allows you to see like which is the fastest processor as of now, and then they get new processors and they put those in the ratings, and you get to see like how everything kind of stacks up. But so on Geekbench, it says more than the 11-core M3 Pro. So the M4 iPad is running faster than the M3 Pro 11-core. So you're getting an iPad that's faster than your MacBook. It's crazy. I can't imagine what the M4 Pro and Max and Ultra will score. From around 11,700 to 14,600 is crazy. Any predictions what the other chips will score? It's all about Snapdragon, these Qualcomm Snapdragon processors on Microsoft's side, putting pressure on Apple to go faster and faster and faster. And it's great competition. It's great between these two. That's awesome. I'm glad that they both have chips now that are being able to compete with each other. But Apple leapfrogged everybody, including their own chips again. So it's like, because right now, if you go and like I keep talking about, if you go and buy an M1 Mac right now, you're gonna be stoked. It's fast, and it's 3 years old. But you can get an M2, or you can get an M3, or you can get an M3 Ultra, an M3 Pro, and those are even faster. And so and then Apple's now coming out with the M4, which is even faster. And you're going, okay, wow, I still could be just fine on the M1. So what are they doing? I'm not sure. So, the M2 performance is 50% of the wattage too, and I'm thinking that but it's the thing that when you see that, people are now thinking that their M3 processors are garbage. And you're going, well, no, they're just really, really good, and the M4s are even better. But if you were to take someone, sit them down in a room and go, okay, here's your old computer, and you're using your old computer 10 minutes, and you take it away from me, go, okay, I'm going to bring you a brand new computer, and you put down a brand new 4-year-old M1. It would blow them away. Oh my gosh, this computer is amazing. And then you take that away, and you put down the M4, you go, oh my gosh, this computer is amazing. But it's not like the M1 is garbage now, or even the M3 is garbage. And so it's crazy. So in 3-4 years in the future, I assume we're going to be using a lot more AI stuff. The Mac OS will probably include some other things in it, but the M3 most likely will run just fine in a few years, as well probably the M1s. So it would be interesting to see exactly how these architectures kind of grow, and it'll be interesting to see how fast we integrate with those things, because if an M1 right now is still holding true and they keep coming out with a new chip every single year, I mean, in 6 years, you could still be totally stoked with your M1, but it might be obsolete based on Apple's planned obsolescence. So who knows, right? But there's some really cool stuff coming, and they're fast, man. They are quick. And speaking of quick, we've already reached the end of another Computer Man show. So if I missed your call tonight, you can always reach me by email, Luigi, Luigi, at ksqd.org. Remember, tune in to the Computer Man Show here on KSQD Santa Cruz every Tuesday night from 6 to 7 p.m. on 90.7 FM, K-Squid, KSQD. I'd like to thank all my listeners and my callers. Thank you, KSQD, Sandy Stone, Hell, Fred, Reggie, Chevy, Kibrick, John Sanders, all Santa Cruz, Nick, Tesla, the Walls, Mr. Casey, Controls, and of course, the humble Electron. Thank you again, Santa Cruz. I am your Computer Man here on K-Squid, KSQD 90.7 FM, and KSQD.org. Stay tuned right here for Be in the Night. I hope you all have a positively charged evening. Until next time.